The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. As you may have noticed, no Lewis today. Lewis is on vacation today and tomorrow. He will be back on Wednesday. Do you want to say hello, John? John, segment producer and intern John has been running the show today. I think you're off mic there. I don't know. Is your voice coming through when you look at the screen? It's not. All right. Well, anyway, I will... John was going to tell us he's a little taller than Lewis, so it's... Anyway, great job today, John. I would give him a 98% rating today. We had one small little delay with a tweet. This is not... I mean, let's be honest. Lewis's production is not always perfect. There are little glitches that sometimes happen, and that's okay. All right, thumbs up. Yeah, nobody can hear John, but I can hear him, fortunately. John running the show today and tomorrow. Okay, I've got a couple stories for you, and then I also want to talk to you about the website. Number one, there is a new report which says that when you type on wireless keyboards, and this is a very popular thing now, we actually have one here in the studio for one of our computers, wireless keyboard typing can be easily intercepted according to a cybersecurity research firm. This is San Francisco-based Bastille, which says keyboards transmit what is being typed in clear text. This is sort of as opposed to an encrypted text, and that from up to 76 meters or 250 feet away, attackers could see what it is that you are typing on that wireless keyboard if they are tuned to the right frequency. The keyboards that are affected by this cannot be updated and should basically be replaced. 12 different companies are currently producing these vulnerable keyboards, and you can Google the list if this sounds like something you should be aware of. I listened to a really interesting podcast when I was driving over the weekend about how given access to internet traffic, right? There was a test that was done by some NPR journalists. They gave some IT experts access to their internet traffic. Now, this doesn't mean they could see what they were typing. This is not a keylogger, but they could merely see what websites are being visited, what websites are being pinged, etc. Very quickly, they were able to figure out the identity of the NPR reporter, Steve, not Steve Inskeep, but the other NPR reporter, Steve. And this was because they saw, okay, they are pinging NPR.com or NPR.org regularly, probably an NPR employee. Okay. They saw that the device that they were using was called Steve's iPhone. Well, we now know that we're talking about an NPR employee named Steve, and this was on the West Coast rather than the East Coast, which eliminated the possibility of it being Steve Inskeep, and they very quickly figured out who it was. They were able to look and see information about as of yet unreleased stories that Steve was working on and actually download raw interview audio that he had been working on. What is the point? The point is, even without NSA-type surveillance, getting access to just elements of someone's internet activity can actually really reveal a lot. And as you know, while I don't agree with the idea that if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't care who's snooping, I don't agree with that whatsoever. I do sort of operate under the guise that everything I'm doing is interceptable, and more people that I know are doing the same. I should actually look to see whether the keyboard that we have that's wireless is one of the vulnerable ones. Although, John is holding it up there. See, we have a second computer that is further over, which handles our interviews. It's a separate, it's essentially an enterprise Skype system. And so that Lewis doesn't have to lean over, we have a wireless keyboard on that one, so we can have both keyboards. Anyway, nothing really private kept on that computer, but something to be aware of. Here's something else I've been talking about a lot. I've been telling you how there are a number of lobbies that are really against the development of higher speed rail train service in the US. This includes the airline lobby, this includes the automobile lobby, but one I forgot about, which now is coming to the forefront, is the bus lobby. Here in Massachusetts, there is a bus company called Peter Pan Bus. They are based in Springfield, Massachusetts. They now have grown pretty significantly. This is a company where when I go home to Western Mass and I don't take my car, or for example, when I moved here with a truck, then I took the bus back to Western Mass to pick up my car. I always use this company. State Senator Eric Lesser here in Massachusetts has been pushing a study to look at expanding east-west rail service in Massachusetts. Massachusetts has this situation where if you want to go from Boston to New York, you've got a train. If you want to go from Boston up to Portland, Maine, you've got a train. If you want to go up to Montreal, you've got a train. If you want to go to Washington, D.C., you've got a train. But if you want to go from Boston to Springfield, Massachusetts, or vice versa, there are effectively no trains. There is one train, I believe it's every day, it might only be 4 times a week, which goes from Chicago to Boston. And as it comes east, when it passes through Springfield, Massachusetts, you can get on and make the ride over to Boston. It's relatively expensive, and that train often runs many hours late. Most people don't do it. Most people take buses. So Peter Picknelly, who runs Peter Pan Bus Company, lost it and demanded that this investigation be stopped, saying, no, this is not a good idea. We don't want to do this. And it was ultimately vetoed by Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. And 2 days before that, it has now been revealed that Mr. Picknelly sent an email to both the governor and legislators saying, no, let's not look into this. Cronyism, lobbying, all the normal stuff that we talk about. And as we've talked about many, many times, if trains were somewhat faster in the US, many people would opt, for example, to take a train from Boston to Washington, D.C., rather than to fly, because once you consider getting to the airport earlier and the fact that the airport, depending on whether you go to Reagan Airport or to Dulles Airport is outside of D.C., then you've got to get into the city, etc., not really worth it. If the train was faster, fewer people would fly. And very clearly, the bus industry recognizing that if you have trains every day going from Boston to Springfield, fewer people are going to take the bus. This is the garbage that goes on here, which continues to keep the U.S. embarrassingly behind what we see in so many other countries, Japan and China and much of Western Europe and many other parts of this planet. It's embarrassing. And this is exactly the type of garbage. We've been talking about it, and yet another incident here. Let me talk to you a little bit about the new website. As hopefully you know by now, the David Pakman Show website has been completely redesigned. We've been working on it for months. On Friday, an email went out to all members, basically just setting the timeline for you, saying this Friday, August 5th, we are going to be switching the website over to the new website. There could be up to, although typically it's just a few hours, there can be up to 48 hours of downtime, or a period during which sometimes you go to davidpakman.com and it's the old website, and sometimes you go to davidpakman.com and it's the new website. That could last up to 48 hours. If you didn't receive this email on Friday and you have checked your spam folder, one of two things is going on. Number one, we don't have your current email in our system, and that's a real problem which we need to get fixed. Please email me. Or number two, something about your email server has actually blocked our email at the server level before it even gets to your spam folder. So if you did not receive this email and you're sure it is not in your spam folder, get in touch and we can figure out what's going on. The way it will work is sometime starting Friday around noon, but possibly as late as Sunday, you will get an email which will say something along the lines of, welcome to the new David Pakman Show website. Please click this link to set a password. Once you set that password, you will be able to get access to all of the membership content on the new website. You will be able to change your payment method for your membership. You will be able to change your membership level from monthly to yearly, or upgrade monthly or downgrade yearly, whatever you want to do. And it hopefully will not be a total disaster. I have to admit, I'm sort of concerned because it's a big process. And we have many member accounts that need to be transitioned over. Some people are using PayPal to pay. Some people have sent checks. Some people are using Stripe, et cetera, et cetera. So there will be a period, I predict, lasting, I'm hoping, not more than a couple of weeks, where there are kinks to be worked out. But rest assured, we will work with you to make sure that your account is in good standing and set up, and all of that is going on. So keep an eye out for that email starting on Friday. And also there will be lots of other great features on this website. You won't necessarily have to go to a centralized page to access the bonus show. We will actually have it set up so that if you are a member, the regular show page will show you the bonus show and the commercial-free show. And if you log out or are not a member, then it just disappears. So it's a much more sophisticated website than we've ever had. We will have that up and running as early as Friday, as late as Sunday, or at least that is the plan as of right now. That is it for today. No Lewis today. Segment producer and intern John here running the show, doing an excellent, excellent job. He will be here tomorrow, and so will I.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.